Hey guys, Devin here with Backcountry Exposure. What I'm going to talk about today is my new ultralight or lightweight cook kit that I'm going to be using for my backpacking system this coming season. I am going to be going out on quite a few different trips here over the winter, as well as I've got a bunch of trips planned for the early spring, so I'm getting a head start on creating my base weight and everything for the 2018 backpacking season. What I have done is upgraded and changed a few things from what I've been doing all of 2017, but I'm excited to share this because as I've been putting all of this together, there's been a lot of things that have come to light for me on how an alcohol stove is really beneficial versus butane, and how butane versus alcohol, kind of that vice versa situation where the weights are so similar that it really is going to come down to personal preference on what people decide to use as far as an ultralight cook system. For me, I'm going to use the butane and the alcohol depending on where I'm going, how many days, that kind of scenario. So as we go through this, I'm going to explain all of that and why I have butane on my ultralight system. I'm going to set this butane aside for a second. We're going to talk about the alcohol kit that I have, which comes in at 15 ounces if I am carrying a full 8 ounces of fuel, which now I understand that 8 ounces of fuel for like a 2-day trip, 2-night, 3-day trip is a lot of fuel, and you're going to carry less than that. I believe that I can get down to about 12 or so ounces with this setup, which is still a really lightweight system. If I take the fuel out of the equation and just use this setup with the alcohol stove on the inside here and this cup, everything, this is 7 1/4 ounces, so super lightweight. Now I did change the pot that I'm using. I had been using the Toke's 650 milliliter. Now I am using the Toke's 700 milliliter, so a little bit bigger. And the reason that I'm doing that is I like the handles that are on this pot a lot better than on the 650, as well as this is a wider pot and it's deeper, so my cup nests on the inside of the pot as opposed to the outside, and I've got a little bit more space in here. If I want to do a little bit different type of cooking than just boiling water and pouring it into a bag, everybody knows if you watch the channel that that is kind of how I am. I don't really like just boiling water. Inside I've got a Bic lighter, and then my alcohol stove is a DIY stove that is very similar to the Starlight that a friend of mine built for me, so super grateful for that. But this comes in at 1 ounce, which is really cool. What this is basically a wedding favor like tin can, and then it's got a mesh screen on the top and then fiberglass on the inside, and then this is just like chicken wire for the pot stand. On the inside here I've got my GSI cup. Then I am carrying the Vargo aluminum windscreen. Super cool little windscreen. Like I said before, all of this together comes in at 7 1/4 ounces, so super lightweight, and then you add the fuel into it and I'm at 15 ounces. So I'm going to set the alcohol stuff aside and I'm going to introduce the butane. So if I am carrying the butane system, if this is at a full 8 ounces of fuel, the difference between the butane and the alcohol is 1/4 ounce. So with an entirely full butane canister, I am at 15 1/4 ounces. That is such a similar weight that depending on what type of trip I'm going to be doing, I may choose the butane over the alcohol system. To lower the weight even more, if I take the stove, this particular stove, which is the Olicamp Kinetic titanium stove, if I take this plastic case out of the equation, I am 13.8 ounces for this entire kit right here. So super lightweight, and I've got extra space down inside of the cup and such for different types of things that I might need to be able to nest inside of there, where the pot stand and such for the alcohol stove takes up way more space than the Kinetic does. So there's a trade-off there of really, really lightweight, a little bit heavier, but I have the pot stand obviously integrated into the stove, which is really cool. Now you might ask yourself, if I'm trying to go ultralight, why not just go alcohol? There's a lot of pros and cons for me, and if you think about the differences between butane and alcohol, there are a lot of pros and cons to going with one or the other. With alcohol, you're getting something that is way more finicky than butane. Butane is kind of just like the consistent, reliable type of fuel system or cooking system, where the alcohol stove takes a little bit more practice, a little bit more work to work with, and if you don't plan correctly and you haven't really done a lot of testing, you can waste a lot of fuel with the alcohol system than you would with the butane. One of the other cons of a butane system, though, is you've got the canister weight that you have to carry. So you're carrying a lot more weight in this metal canister than I am in this plastic fuel bottle. About 3 ounces is the weight of an empty canister. Now this is a 100 gram. This is going to last me at least a 4-day trip, cooking 2 meals a day. So I'm cooking my breakfast as well as my dinner. So if I've got this as an option, I'm going to be carrying a little bit more weight anyway. But this is also a really, really good way to go because it's super lightweight, and the access to fuel is really easy. So I can go to any convenience store, any gas station, and get heat, and I can use this as a way for me to cook, as opposed to being in an area where I might not be able to get access to a butane canister. So there's, again, some trade-offs with that. I'm going to pull this out and just show you guys the cup. Again, this is the GSI cup that comes in the Pinnacle Soloist, so I have kind of like mixed pieces between all of my pots. Part of the reason that I like this cup is it gives me something that's really lightweight to be able to use for mixing or for a hot drink. And there are graduation lines or measurement marks on this cup, where on the 700 milliliter of the Tokes there is not any graduation lines. So it's just a nice like extra addition that fits perfect into the inside and nests perfect into the pot, which I really like. And then I can put the canister in there if I want, or I can put the stove in here with the lighter, or if I'm going the alcohol route, then I'll put my windscreen here in the bottom, and then the alcohol stove there on the top with the lighter down there on the side. Boom, I've got a total 12 to 15 ounce cook system that way, or a 13 ounce system if I go the butane route. So I'm really excited about this because I've been able to shave a lot of weight off of my cook system from the past, and I've got a really reliable, good, effective stove that is super lightweight. This thing comes in at 1.7 ounces alone, so it's not that much heavier than the alcohol stove and the pot stand, this chicken wire pot stand combined. Just one of those things that a lot of people are talking about. The only way to go ultralight is to go with an alcohol stove. I understand that like a lot of people are using the cat can stove. That's something that I have not used yet, but am probably going to try at some point. But for me, so far, and the way that I cook, the way that I like to backpack, going with the butane has been my preference, but definitely going to try out doing specifically the alcohol system this year, which I'm excited about. Really excited about this particular alcohol stove. Super grateful for the friend of mine that put that together, Mr. T-Max. So anyway guys, that is my ultralight cook kit for the 2018 backpacking season. I've only got one trip left in the year, and then it's all about saving weight and looking at ways to get a really low base weight. So thanks so much for watching guys. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hope you have an awesome day.